What if I told you that one of the world's most powerful financial institutions, a 158-year-old giant, collapsed in a single day, triggering a global economic catastrophe? Billions vanished, jobs were lost, and lives were shattered. And here's the terrifying part. The same forces that brought down Lehman Brothers are still in play today. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll realize just how fragile the system we all rely on truly is, and what that means for your future. What you're about to hear could change the way you think about money forever. Lehman Brothers, the rise of a giant. Lehman Brothers wasn't just another Wall Street firm. Founded in 1850, it survived world wars, recessions, and the Great Depression. This wasn't luck. It was a story of resilience, adaptation, and strategic brilliance. Lehman helped finance the railroads that built America, weathered the stock market crash of 1929, and evolved into a global financial powerhouse. But here's the thing, the same strategies that made them great, taking risks, innovating, would ultimately lead to their downfall. Success in business is about taking calculated risks, but what happens when those calculations are wildly off? The perfect storm: risk, greed, and hubris. In the early 2000s, Lehman Brothers dove headfirst into the booming housing market, betting heavily on subprime mortgages. Sure, everyone was doing it, but Lehman took it to the next level. They were playing a high-stakes game, except the house wasn't just on fire. They were pouring gasoline on it. It's a bit like thinking you're a professional gambler in Vegas, winning big with borrowed money, until the house always wins. But it wasn't just greed. It was hubris, the belief that they were too big, too smart, too important to fail. And when the bubble burst, Lehman found itself on the wrong side of history. The debts were enormous, and their house of cards began to collapse. But here's the twist. Lehman wasn't the only one. So, why did they fall first? What made Lehman different from the other financial giants? September 15, 2008, the day the music stopped. September 15, 2008. Mark this date in your mind. On this day, Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy, becoming the largest bankruptcy in U.S. history. The shockwaves were immediate. Global markets tumbled. Banks that had lent to Lehman were suddenly paralyzed with fear, unsure of who was next. Ever had that moment where you realize you're standing at the edge of a cliff, but you don't know how far down the drop is? That was the global economy. The government had bailed out Bear Stearns just months earlier, but this time, no one was coming to save Lehman. And that's when panic set in. But why didn't the government step in? After all, they'd saved others. Was it a calculated move? Or was there something bigger at play? The domino effect, a global meltdown. When Lehman fell, it was like tipping the first domino in a line. Banks stopped trusting each other. Credit froze. Companies couldn't borrow to pay their workers. Consumers couldn't get loans to buy homes or cars. The world's financial system, built on trust, suddenly found itself in a trust crisis. And here's the thing. Most people didn't realize how fragile it all was until it was too late. It's like driving a car at 100 miles an hour, only to realize your brakes stopped working miles ago. The 2008 financial crisis didn't just impact Wall Street. It hit Main Street hard. Families lost homes. Businesses closed. Millions of jobs vanished. And all because one bank thought it could defy gravity. But was Lehman's collapse inevitable, or could it have been prevented? The truth might surprise you. The lessons learned. Could it happen again? Here's where the story hits close to home. The 2008 financial crisis changed everything, from the way banks operate to how governments respond to crises. Regulations tightened, risk management became a buzzword, and Lehman's story became a cautionary tale. But have we truly learned our lesson? With today's volatile markets, rising debt, and speculative bubbles, one has to wonder, are we just waiting for the next Lehman to fall? Maybe we're not so far from the edge of that cliff after all. Lehman Brothers may have been the catalyst for the 2008 financial crisis, but their story isn't just one of failure. It's a stark reminder of how quickly empires can fall, and how interconnected we all are. So, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you be the one to see the next collapse coming? Or will you build something that can stand the test of time? Until next time, keep asking questions, keep learning, and stay vigilant, because history has a way of repeating itself.